Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. We're following a story out of central and northern California. More than 100 stolen beehives have been recovered. And beekeepers say these kinds of hive thefts can cause them hundreds of thousands of dollars. Fox 40's Rowena Shaddocks has that story.
The sergeant you're about to meet is the president of the California Rural Crime Prevention Task Force. He tells me that this kind of crime is rampant throughout California, but rarely will you see it in the news because it's very difficult to make an arrest and especially bring the culprit to justice. A Yolo County landowner noticed something unusual yesterday and texted pictures to beehive keeper Trevor Tauser.
I noticed that the hives were started to get sanded, all the names and the identifiers were sanded off, and so that immediately raised my suspicions.
So Trevor, whose beekeeping family business is in its 53rd year, immediately contacted the Yolo County Sheriff's Office.
When our staff made contact with that gentleman, he was in the process of concealing the identifying information that is stamped on the side of those boxes.
Deputies arrested 47-year-old Leonid Terzi of Sacramento, seen here in this picture. He was booked on several felony charges relating to the theft. The bees were stolen from Merced County.
It always happens during the almond bloom. This is the largest migration of bees in the entire world that happens here in California.
Brian Burris is a third-generation beekeeper and the president of the California State Beekeepers Association. Beehives are extremely valuable.
For California beekeepers, we estimate it costs about $350 per hive to keep it alive per year.
Trevor's family business, Tauser Apiaries, lost 400 beehives a couple of years ago, but fortunately got them back.
When we lose them, it's devastating.
And devastating for the consumers.
Honeybees produce about 1 out of every 3 bites of food that you eat. Without honeybees, you wouldn't have all the nutrition, all those things that doctors say you should be consuming more of. Without the honeybees, our grocery stores would be quite bare.
Crops you don't think about, carrots, onions, melons, all those things need to be pollinated.
It's not every day you hear about it, but unfortunately, it's nearly every day that it's happening. So agriculture crime in California is just as rampant as any other type of organized crime. And apiary theft is no different.
And those beekeepers that you met said they are very grateful to the Yolo County Sheriff's Office for their quick response and making an arrest, which is very rare, and even more rare is to recover those beehives. Again, yesterday, 172 of them. Reporting in Yolo County tonight, covering local news that matters, Rowena Shaddocks, Fox 40 News.
And for more on this case of stolen beehives, let's bring in Merced County Sheriff's Detective Thomas Griffin. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll talk a little bit more specifically about this case and how you track down these millions of stolen bees. But first, for people who aren't so familiar with the agriculture industry, especially there in Central California, can you tell us about how important and expensive these bees can be?
They're absolutely vital. There is no agricultural economy in California without bees. There's going to be $400 million changing hands just this year in the fees between the beekeepers, the brokers, and the owners of the bees. And that represents billions of dollars in agricultural industry, from almonds to various other crops that require the pollination of bees. It is not understated to say that without bees, we would not be the certainly the economy, but even the civilization that we are. Bees are that important to humankind.
And as we're talking about this case specifically, these beehives, 172 hives were stolen. Each of those has over 1,000 bees. So we're talking about millions of stolen bees here. Tell us about how this farmer came to find out they were missing and then the process of tracking them down for your department.
So the 172 hives were stolen from a bee broker's lot that had over 1,000 hives in it. So the theft wasn't immediately discovered, but when it was, the beekeeping industry is very tight knit. They have industry Facebook group pages, and the bee broker put the description of the hives and where it had been stolen on that Facebook group, and news spread within the industry fairly quickly. A very astute beekeeper in Yolo County saw hives in an area where they weren't supposed to be that matched that description, and got in touch with the right people, including the Yolo County Sheriff's Office. I'm part of the California Rural Crime Prevention Task Force, which is a group of ag investigators from all over California, everywhere from Kern County all the way up into Shasta Trinity. So my counterpart at the Yolo County Sheriff's Office got in touch with me and said, "Hey, I think I got your bees." And it went from there very quickly to us coordinating surveillance, and upon the arrest of the suspect, getting the victim up to Yolo County to recover the bees.
And tell us more about that suspect. Was this another farmer? What did they want these bees for?
So the suspect had some equipment and displayed some skills that lead us to believe that they were a beekeeper. Or at least had some involvement in the beekeeping industry, which unfortunately is where the majority of bee theft originates from, is other beekeepers. And that's not to say that it's an industry full of criminals in any way, shape, or form, but there is a level of sophistication, equipment, and knowledge that's required to safely handle bees that other beekeepers possess. And like any group, there's some bad apples, and that's where bee theft usually happens. And given the dollar figures that are associated not just with the value of the hives themselves, but the beekeeper's ability to turn around during a season of high demand, where you have bees coming from as far as Florida. To step back a bit, California has about 800,000 hives statewide, but over 2.4 million hives are required during the peak agricultural pollination seasons in order to ensure all the crops get pollinated. So you have bees coming from pretty much the entire country coming into California, to the point where I heard a figure that 80% of the bees in the country are in California right now, and that is a tempting figure for the thieves when they can get $300 or $400 per hive from a farmer. Typically, they will steal them, conceal their origin, lease them to a farmer, and then just never pick them up again. And then they're $300 or $400 richer, and nobody's the wiser.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think a lot of people don't realize exactly how much bees can be worth, especially in such a booming industry there in Central California. So this isn't the first time that you've seen a case like this, right? Can you tell us about what you've seen in the past, maybe with similar cases?
So this isn't anything new to us. Organized crime also plays a part in this. Back in 2016 and 2017, there was a group operating out of the Sacramento region, and they stole over 2,400 hives throughout the Central Valley, and they were tied back to some organized crime. So this has been happening for a while, but the scale of it, once a organized crime element comes into it, certainly ramps it up from, a couple hives going missing here and there.
All right, thank you so much, Detective Thomas Griffin with the Merced County Sheriff's Office. To give people an idea, this was a pretty quick solve of this case. The beehives were taken from Merced County. They were found just a few days later, more than 100 miles away. So some good detective work there to track down those bees. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us tonight.
My pleasure.